Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a long-awaited video. There are a few videos that I still have yet to there are still a few videos that I have not done that I want to do. This is a video that I wanted to share a while ago, but it's hard to share because I feel like sometimes when you're gonna share something online, you want to have somewhat of experience and kind of not just come on here and share things and not have had experience with it. So I wanted to make sure my breastfeeding journey was going well, and as you probably read by the title, I'm going to kind of be reviewing the Elvie pump with you guys. Before I share you guys kind of how I use it, I just wanted to give my overview opinion about it. I started breastfeeding as soon as Enzo came out of the womb. It went great. It was pretty easy, I would say. I didn't struggle with it at first, and I think I was struggling a little bit cuando he was. I thought that he maybe didn't like the breast, but it was actually because my milk would come in a lot, and I shared on this channel kind of what I did to increase my supply, and I think with me, my letdown just comes out fast. As a baby, it's a lot for him to handle, so I think he sometimes would cry and push away, and then I'd be like, he's not eating. And as a mom, as a first-time mom, you worry about that stuff. So as you saw in the other videos, I sort of fell into exclusively pumping. I wanted to be able to have the opportunity to at least breastfeed him without being it directly. So I kind of fell in exclusively pumping because I thought that my schedule wasn't aligning with his, in the sense that I thought that I didn't have any milk, but I actually, I did have milk. It just was not, I think I didn't know better, so I just assumed that there was no more milk left. But anyway, so I fell in exclusively pumping, but I still had not gotten the Elvie yet. I got the Elvie when I realized that I was exclusively pumping, and I just was like, it's really hard to use the other pump, and I don't have it here, so I might share a video of me with the other one. It's called the Ameda Maya, and I love that one because you're not connected to a wall, and it works just fine. I use that in the mornings when I'm going to go to work, so that way I have these already packed and ready to go in my little nursing bag that I carry. And I did not use these at all, so let me go back. So when Enzo was born, I was obviously on maternity leave. I was just breastfeeding directly, and then I fell into exclusively pumping. And when I was doing exclusively pumping, I would use these so that way I could walk around the house and stuff like that. And I also started using these a lot more when I went back to work a few days, but I was still working from home, so I wouldn't use it as much. I didn't get a lot of use out of this. And then I switched jobs and I went back to work full time every single day, so that's when these came in handy, and I was using them a lot. These also come in handy when we're on trips and Enzo wakes up early from being in the car, his nap time, and then I can't necessarily feed him directly, so then I'll just pump and then I feed him, or if we're out and stuff like that. I just wanted to kind of give you guys an opinion on how my journey was and when these kind of came into play. I'll start with the cons first. So there are a lot of little parts to the pump versus when you have a regular pump, you'll just have the bottle or the little cup and the flange, and then maybe one of these little thingies, and that's pretty much it. So there's a lot more little pieces, which means you have to wash a lot more pieces. And I don't know if you have any help and or you have a dishwasher, and I'm just saying it's a lot, especially when you're trying to navigate everything. It's too many pieces to be washing constantly every 3 hours if you're feeding, or every 2 hours if you're feeding. So just keep that in mind, that it's a lot of pieces. The other con is also that it is probably not a good pump for people who produce a lot. And by a lot, I don't mean like in the day you produce a ton. I mean a lot within one sitting, because the fact that it's only 5 ounces, but with my Ameda Maya, I can use Enzo's bottle and I just put the phalange thing. So let's say the days that I was overproducing, you know, let's say I got 7 ounces from one bottle, I don't have to empty it versus this one. So like, I know it usually comes with like little bottles, but it's convenient in the morning pump. I would not recommend this because of the fact that in the morning, if your baby's sleeping throughout the night and you're going to pump, you probably have a lot of milk. So this is probably better with a different pump than using this one. Why? Because once it starts getting around like 4 ounces or so, or it starts detecting it like an overflow, the app, because it's connected to an app, it will tell you that it has stopped, and it'll automatically stop because of the fact that it's assuming that you no longer have room for more milk. That sucks because then you have to empty or open it, empty it, put it in a bag or put it in a bottle, and then continue pumping if you're not done yet. Sometimes it also is not necessarily up to here. And I'll show you like kind of like in the app maybe. I might screen record when I am doing one so you guys can see kind of how it looks like. Literally sometimes it's at 3 and it thinks it's at 4.5, and I'm like, it's not even like that. So it'll automatically stop and you're like, what? Keep going. So then you have to continue to keep going. But sometimes if you keep going and you're truly up here, then you're gonna have an overflow and then you're gonna spill. So that's the one thing I don't recommend. And also because you can't just open it and then drop it in a bottle and then continue to go, because once these items start getting like wet in the sense that you're starting pumping and you dismantle it, when you put it back together, it doesn't have enough suction. Like you have to kind of clean all the parts again and dry them out. So, you know, versus your phalange or the normal ones, you can continue you just untie it, drop it in, and then continue to go and you're fine. So that's the only thing is, don't use it if you're overproducing a lot because you might just run into like a few issues. And speaking of that, so since there are a lot of parts, I know I've seen a lot of reviews where it says that the suction isn't as good. So there are specific ways of how you set it up. It's not just like you're gonna put it like this, and then you're gonna do this, and then you just stick it in. Okay, so it is kind of like that, but when you're doing it, when you put it in here, you have to make sure, first of all, that it's clean, but you have to make sure that, I don't know if you guys can see. Okay, you guys have to make sure that that is not touching this, the inner corner right there, because what happens is if it, here, let me make it like it can't touch, like that. Okay, that's touching it. Can you guys see? That is not okay. You have to push it out and make sure that there's no touching it. You can see like a little bit, but no, you cannot have it touch. And then when you're gonna grab your breast pump, you need to make sure that the way that you put it in here is evenly. So you can't have it like kind of like hanging out like that. You cannot. You want to make sure that it's evenly. Hopefully that is even. I don't know if it is, but, and you want to make sure you check it around all the way and ensure that it's like that, and keep it like this. So once you put it in, you literally, I kind of do that, and I like smack it sometimes. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but I just want to make sure it's like good to go. And then when you put it in, you want to like start it, and then you want to make sure it's on the right breast. Why? Because there is a little triangle, I did not know, or square, and that's for 30 millimeters or something like that, and this is 24 or 28, something like that. I already forgot which one I am, but I use a triangle on my left and I use a square on my right, and that tells you the difference. You'll see it when you order this. So this one's for my right breast, so then I just change it to be my right, and then you put it in there. But you need to make sure that your breast literally goes like right here, and then it starts sucking it in and going in like that. Once you put it in, you can feel it. And if you feel like it's not sucking it in, then you don't have it correctly sucked in. So before I even like fully like start, I check everything and I'm like, I'm good, I'm not gonna have any spill. But sometimes, you know, that's when you might have a spill, and I double check with the app because I'm like, if I can see that like in a minute I'm not having anything, because usually I do, I have a lot done right away, like at 1 minute. Then if I check and there's like nothing like in there, then I'm like, okay, it's not set up correctly. And I can hear it too, like, because you can hear it on the other ones too, the other types of pumps, where like your milk gets stuck on the little like I don't know the right terminology, but that little thing, it gets like stuck, all the milk in there, and that isn't good, because then it'll start squirting it out the opposite way. It does the same issue on the other one, in case you don't like, if you don't do this, because right here on the other pumps you have to make sure you kind of sometimes do this, because I don't know if you wash it and they might get stuck, and if it gets stuck, it's not opening and emptying your milk. So yeah, there's just a process of how it is, and they have all these videos when you purchase it. It'll show you like, because you might submit something and be like, well, mine's not working, etc., and they'll be like, did you check that, you know, you have it set up properly? Because a lot of the times it's like user issues, and I know it sucks, and sometimes you'll be like, what the heck, like spills have happened, and it has happened to people who I know who have also purchased it, and I know it sucks, but it happened to me too, and it kind of got on my shirt. It had been a while that it hadn't happened, because I had already gotten the routine of it, but just recently it did, because I didn't check in. I just started like going about my stuff, and it got like on my shirt, and I was at work, and I'm like, oh, good thing I got a shirt that like was able to dry really easy. Anyway, so that is a con, in the sense that you need to make sure you're properly setting it up correctly, and you also need to make sure you have the right flange size, because your breast could be a different one, your nipple size, so that can also cause it. It shouldn't hurt, but you should feel like the suction, and that's kind of how you know it. And sometimes like my boob or my nipple is like up here, and then it's not sucking it, and then I'll notice that there's like no milk, and I'm like, what the heck? And then I lower it down a little bit more, and I'm like, oh, I didn't have it correctly aligned with the little lines that it has in there. So yeah, it's a process, and I didn't know about that until like trial and error, and Alonso and I were like figuring out, and I'm like, are you serious? I bought this and it's like so much expensive, and yeah, so there's that. And I think for cons, that's pretty much it. Just if you overproduce, this is probably not a pump for you, because it's constantly going to be of emptying it, dumping it out. I think once you've already kind of established your milk supply, and you know that, you know, it's like 4 ounces on each breast or whatever it is, because if you produce a lot on each breast, then I'd probably do a different type of pump, because I mean, it does suck having to constantly be doing that. So another con is that if it is wet, if any of the parts are kind of wet, they need to be like really dry. And by that I mean like right here, this can't really be wet, and you need to make sure to take this out and dry it out between sessions and stuff like that. And same thing with here. When I'm at work, I usually just like clean it with some wipes that I use that are like breastfeeding safe and stuff like that. So I'll clean my parts and just need to make sure that they air dry, and before you set it up correctly for the next time. These, I just put them in the fridge with my milk bag and my little bag at work, because this can stay in the fridge. It's fine, as long as you know you don't leave it out. You can use it, it's safe. So I think that's all the negative thing. I do want to say that this does last for me. I pump 10 minutes, sometimes I pump like up to 12 minutes. If I feel like I'm having a low supply that day, I'll pump up to 15 minutes. But in general, this will last me 3 pumping sessions a day, but I only need 2, because I pump 1 in the morning, 2 at work, and then I feed Enzo when I come home. But this has lasted me up to 3, maybe even 4, and at the 4th one it might have died. So if you pump for 30 minutes, you might have to charge. So that's the thing to keep in mind. If you are these are the little things, like if you pump for 30 minutes and you pump like 5 times a day, take your chargers, and because I'm not sure how much it truly lasts. I just know that I pump for 10 to 12 minutes 2 times. I have taken it for 3 times up to 4 times, and it was fine. I've never had to charge it the entire time, regardless if I went to work when I was feeding Enzo like 8 times a day or 6 times a day. I still will last like the 4 times at work, and it was fine. So, but I don't pump that long, and I know other people do. So keep that in mind, because again, that could be a con if you just don't have time to be pumping or to be charging things. And that's pretty much all of the cons. I don't think, if I remember anything, I'll put it in when I'm editing the video, but I think that's pretty much it. You also want to make sure that everything in here is clean, because sometimes you'll get dry milk or, you know, just from some spills and stuff. So that is it. As far as pros, it is very convenient. You can literally just put it in and go about your day. Sometimes with picking your children up, it's kind of hard because you don't want to go so low and have it just dump. I've never tried it. We're really flexible bras now, so sometimes they can't hold it in. I have a different type of bra, and they hold my pumps a little bit better, but these that I kind of got, which I love because they're super stretchy, but since they are super stretchy, sometimes it doesn't hold it very well, so sometimes I'll just go like this to make sure it's like really secure. And that, I just like love it that I have that availability of being able to use my hands, because let's be real, pumping is so time consuming, and you need to be able to use your hands or eat or whatever it is. And the other pro about it is that you can take it anywhere, and you don't feel like, I don't feel comfortable showing my breasts around people. So I know you probably do as a mom, and it's normal and it's okay, and I understand that, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. It has nothing to do with I'm against like breastfeeding, because I am breastfeeding and I'm proud of it, you know, and I don't want to be like this with a pump or a hand pump and have it to be like, you know, if I'm uncomfortable, then I still feel like other people might be uncomfortable, and I just don't want to have that confrontation or just like that awkwardness, you know. I mean, it is what it is, but I'm just saying that I would rather prefer to just literally what I do when I'm, you know, out places. I just go like this. I put it in. You can't tell unless you're looking like this to me, then you might be able to see when I go like that with my shirt, but I can still see from here, and I make sure that it's centered the way it's supposed to. Turn on my phone, turn on my app, and we are good to go. So I love the convenience of that, because you can't even tell. It has saved me so many things. I know you're probably not supposed to do it when you're driving, but I've done it when I'm driving. I've done it when I've been in line in places. It has saved me, so that way I have maintained my schedule and my supply, because sometimes maybe you can't be right next to your child, but you need to pump or pump and dump, whatever it is, and you're hanging out with the girls or whatever it is you're doing, and your breasts, you know, pumps, you just put them in your purse, and they're really convenient. They fit in my little pail. I'll show it to you guys. They fit in my little pail, and this is where I put everything. They come in this little bag, which is dirty, but you literally just put them in there and good to go. It comes with the chargers, and it comes with a 2 sets of these. Yeah, so it's this one, another set, and same with the pumps. And then I had gotten other ones sent because I thought that one had cracked or something like that. So, and then I know, because I had a warranty, but then now if I don't have warranty, I think you just have to pay for them. But regardless, it's like super convenient. The only thing I noticed is that, like, I don't know if you can tell, this one is like a weird kind of color. It changed because this one is like not as, do you see the difference? And I don't know why. I tried cleaning it, but I don't know if it's like in Spanish, mugre, but I tried cleaning it and it just not come out. So there's that. What other convenient thing? Let me just double check on my phone, because I have sent people have constantly asked me for questions about this. I feel like this is like the most asked question about that, because it is expensive, and I know some people just do not feel comfortable purchasing something like that. I do want to say that mine was covered with an HSA. If your company or the place that you work at, or if your husband or whatever, you have an HSA account, insured kind of by, and you have money on that, I would use that. That's what I use. So I had $500, more than $500 in there. So I just purchased it from the hsastore.com, and that's kind of how I was able to get that. Oh, hold on, it's too bright. I apologize about the light, but I did want to come on here and just say the only other thing is I would not recommend this if you are a like stay-at-home mom, or if you have a whole year of leave, and you are just breastfeeding directly, because it's $500 and I don't think it's a very good investment if you're not using it more than like 50% of the time. Just my thought. Like, for example, at the beginning when I was working from home, probably not a good idea. I literally would not use it at all. I would use my other pump because it was just more convenient since I didn't have to put so many parts together. And the other thing is, I would not recommend it if you are currently pregnant and you are trying to purchase it, because you could probably not end up using it, and I don't think you can return it. The only thing is I'm saying is because I waited until I knew that I was, breastfeeding, and my milk supply was great, because I was using the Haka pump originally at the very beginning. But I wouldn't recommend it if you haven't had your child yet and then you're thinking about purchasing it, and then you're left with a $500 pump, and I don't know if people can sell it or if you want to buy a used one. Like, I just don't know that part. So I'm saying I would probably recommend, until you've already established like that you are going to be pursuing breastfeeding or exclusively pumping. If you know you're going to do that, then I would definitely recommend you purchasing it. But if you are unsure and you just kind of want to go with the flow, I would try some of the other pumps, and then once you're like, you know what, I think I'm going to stick with this, and if you feel that way, then I think you would very well invest in something like this, because it will pay off, especially if you're on the go mom and you just sometimes have to be away from your baby and you can't nurse directly. Then definitely I would 100% recommend this, especially like if you want to go out, you don't have to come home and like get out your whole pumping parts. You can just put this in your bag, pump it. You carry one of these, you put an ice little thing in there, ice pack, and then you have your little milk bags, and you are good to go. So I would definitely recommend getting an Elvie. I love mine, and I have definitely used it this entire year. I mean, it's going to be almost a year, so I'm still going to continue to breastfeed, and it will be very convenient now. Like now I don't, you don't pump as much. I think when you're pumping so many times, you're like, oh my God, I hate this. But then, your baby's gonna get older and you're not gonna be pumping that much. So you're gonna be pumping like 4 times a day. It's gonna go down to 3, then it's gonna go down to 2. And this is cool. I mean, like, what if I'm at work really late one time and then I can't come home, which has happened. I was at like events and stuff like that, and I've had to pump in the car, and I pump, and unfortunately I have to sometimes like throw it away because I didn't take a little ice chest, or it's just like really, really hot and I can't leave it in there. So, but it's just convenient that I'm not failing my body, because I have something super convenient to make sure that I'm on my schedule and pumping at least every 4 to 5 hours, versus not having anything like this and not having a room to go pump or the privacy to do that. So just saying that if you're a mama out there and you are in need of something that's more convenient, definitely get yourself an Elvie pump. I just wanted to give you guys my opinion, and if you guys have any questions regarding breastfeeding or anything like that, I am here to help and serve each other. I know how it feels like when you don't know who to ask for. You just feel embarrassed and you feel like someone's gonna be like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Anything, just go ahead and send me a message. If you don't want to leave a comment, leave my socials down below, and I am here to help all of you, because I think it's really important to have each other's back, especially because this is really hard. And if you're in the boat and you don't even know if you want to continue to breastfeed, I got you. I can help you. Vet is best, but it is also really convenient to be having something like this where you're just a mom on the go. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I love doing these types of videos regarding you know, motherhood and breastfeeding and stuff like that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, bye.